Floyd Mayweather. Terence Crawford is making the same mistake as all Errol Spence opponents. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Corner Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, Floyd Mayweather recently gave an interview and he spoke about a few things that Terence Bud Crawford might be doing wrong in preparation for his big anticipated fight with Errol the Truth Spence Jr. And I just wanted to give my 2 cents on what Floyd Mayweather had to say. Now, you know, there's a few things I think Terence Crawford could be doing wrong when it comes to the Errol Spence Jr. fight.
But was it ever a time when you had a fight coming? Because they say before the fight you ain't supposed to get no sex, and you got some sex anyway?
Every fight.
Oh, you still be getting it in?
I don't know. I'm just different.
A nut feel like you gonna kill you.
Somebody that was bullshit made that up, man.
We break our nut for from orgasm.
They all ask me. They all be asking.
Boy, if a nut lasted, man, 15 seconds.
I mean, all the younger fighters, they be like, man, you still be like, yeah.
It be some drop dead motherfuckers around here. God damn.
And the first thing, you know, I spoke about a couple of videos ago, and that was waiting too long. You know, this fight, it should have happened last summer. It should have happened a bunch of times, you know, before now, but it definitely should have happened last summer, because the fact of the matter is Errol Spence has had almost a full year to recover, to work on new things, to come up with new strategies, to study more film. And Terence Crawford, he fought Avanzian not too long ago, and I don't feel like he's had as much preparation for Errol as Errol has had for him. So I think the first thing that he did wrong, if you want to listen to Mayweather, is his preparation, you know, just going into the fight.
Not the problem I have with other niggas. I know I'll pick my battle. If I can't beat a nigga, I'm not going to fuck with the nigga.
Not that he's not taking it seriously, but that he might not understand that he might have bit off more than he can chew. Especially not having a promotional company backing him. I think a lot of people feel like he doesn't need a promotional company backing him. He should be controlling his own career and all these type of things. But I don't think people actually realize sometimes how important a promotional company is when it comes to making fights and having everything be on the up and up. You know, the reason that a lot of companies do the in-house fights and they don't really want to cross, you know, the promotional company line is because they can control a lot more when there's not 2 promotional companies involved. You know, there are rehydration clauses, there are venues that, you know, you might want that the other side doesn't want, referee issues, judge issues. You know, there's always something that can be controlled by the promotional company as long as you have a promotional company. Now, if you're going into a fight and you're the underdog and you have no promotional company, well, 90% of the time you're probably going to lose. And I think that's the main thing that Mayweather is speaking of, is that I think Mayweather wanted Terence Crawford to sign to him, and he might be a little salty that he didn't. And he feels like, well, I could have controlled things a little bit more behind the scenes for you when it comes to this fight, where you really don't have the experience or the knowledge to put certain things into place to better your shot of winning. Now, we all know Floyd Mayweather is the king of setting up fights in his favor. You know, whether you want to believe it or not, go back, study his fights. People want to talk about Gervonta Davis or this fighter or that fighter. Well, go back and study Floyd Mayweather and his contracts and the things that he wrote into his contracts that made it nearly impossible for anybody to beat him. Now, I'm not saying he did that his whole career, but definitely Money Mayweather was the king of that Pretty Boy Floyd, I think that was the come-up fighter. Money Mayweather was the superstar. So, there were things that Mayweather wrote into contracts where his opponent definitely had no shot at beating him.
And I was sitting on the bed, I heard a noise. And I said, somebody fell. And I called it, Thurman, Thurman, Thurman. I didn't hear nothing. And then he was on the floor, he was dead.
And that, to me, is the main topic here. PBC is going to be controlling 75, maybe 80% of this fight, and Terence Crawford and his promotional company, or whatever he's using as a promotional company at this moment, I think it's TBC is his promotional company. He has his own brand. They're not going to be controlling as much as Errol Spence's side, because they're not going to be putting up as much money, if any money at all, when it comes to the fight. And that's really where all of this comes into play when it comes to promotional companies and why they get to control so much. It's because they're most of the time the ones putting up the money, and especially in in-house fights, the promotional company controls pretty much everything. So if it's Errol Spence's side picking the ref, his side picking, the judges, his side picking the gloves, his side picking the rehydration clauses, it's going to take a lot for Terence Crawford to overcome all of that and try to walk out of Las Vegas with a victory. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not saying it's not possible, but he's definitely in between a rock and a hard place at the moment. And I feel like he should definitely seek advice from other company, which is what he might have been doing this whole time. He's been talking to Oscar, he's been talking to Mayweather, he's been talking to other promotional companies. Perhaps he's been gathering information about that fight the whole time and what his position should be on everything, the money, every aspect of it. And perhaps those people have given him some decent advice, some advice he wouldn't have got from Bob Arum. Bob Arum would have given him some top-rank advice. Well, he's getting advice from all companies when it comes to that fight. And I do feel like at this moment, Terence Crawford, I don't think is prepared for what's going to happen in the ring. Errol Spence is one of the best welterweights we've probably ever seen. He's been so dominant as a welterweight. He's similar to Devin Haney, except for Errol Spence can punch. He packs a punch at the weight division that he's been at for so long. And Terence Crawford is getting older. We all know he hasn't fought the best competition. We all know that Errol Spence has the best jab in the business. And I just don't know if Terence Crawford has enough to overcome all the obstacles that are going to be in front of him when he faces off with Errol the Truth Spence Jr. And Floyd Mayweather might be right, but perhaps Bud understands that. Perhaps Bud, I've heard that there's a rematch clause on both sides, so he's definitely going to get a second fight. Perhaps he plans on fighting the first one as an independent, see if he can beat him. If he can beat him, then he'll go into it in the second fight and make a lot more money as an independent. And if he loses, perhaps then he'll go sign to another promotional company to try to get a little bit more favor on his side for the second fight. We don't know. It all has to play out, and we all have to see how this is going to be and turn out. I do think that waiting so long, it could definitely be a problem for both guys. I anticipate a good fight, but I really think that it's going to be one-sided. And Errol Spence is going to walk out of that arena the unified, undisputed champion of the world. And he's going to skip right off into the sunset to 154, most likely fight Keith Thurman next, and then Charlo. And, there's possibilities for huge things for Errol the Truth Spence Jr. Terence Crawford will most likely have to pick up the pieces of his career in the future. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. The like button for me. Sure. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tubes, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. podcast, man. We are mining.
Illuminati want your mind, soul, and your body. You want a red bone hottie and a Maserati. Is that a fair trade? I was in 3rd grade writing down mean. Now I'm as clean as your maid. Get these bitches wet, they some mermaids. Take a survey, they all prefer K. EYZ, still in the money. I'm a Louisville legend and I'm still in my 20s. Super cool, wind chill in the 20s, but I still pack heat. I can make it feel sunny. So you can rock a white beater when I'm mobbing through. But be safe and bring your coat and your toboggan too. I'm out of here. I'm on my mind. 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 Where you from, nigga? I would clown your ass, but you can't get smart with a dumb nigga. Dumb nigga, I would shank your ass, but you can't knife fight with a gun, nigga. If Louis Keys did it, it's a damn banger. Tape on the 38 like a jam banger. To this rap shit, I ain't no damn stranger. They wanna throw me off the boat, but I'm the damn anchor. And my team ride clean, looking like tomato juice in my Visine. My eyeballs bloodshot to red, all eyes on Louis Keys, no cockery. I'm out of here, I'm on my mind. I'm out of here, I'm on my mind. I'm out of here, I'm on my mind. I'm out of here. I got voices in my head, voices in my head. They say Keys, get that money, get that paper, get that bread. Don't be worrying about the cop, don't be worrying about the feds, don't be worrying about your wifey and the shit that she done said. That's 3 voices, 1 grind time 3. How the hell one nigga gonna outshine me? I said that's 3 voices, 1 grind time 3. How the fuck one nigga gonna outshine Keys? I'm out of here, I'm on my mind.